you are, Sergeant. But we can hardly call a second-story window a means of entrance. And nothing here that even a human fly could crawl up. So why should Archer Cole lock his windows? Particularly if he was a fresh air enthusiast.
I'm afraid your reasoning is not altogether convincing.
Well, perhaps so, but doesn't it strike you as rather odd that a man should suddenly decide to commit suicide while changing from his street clothes to pajamas?
Well, why not? A man debating suicide might get partially undressed and walk up and down for hours trying to make up his mind.
Yes, he might walk up and down for hours, but not with one shoe half off. No, Markham. Something stopped him as he was removing that shoe. This was supposed to suggest suicide, but someone miscalculated.
But you can't get away from that bolted door.
I wish I could.
The way you figure it out, the man was murdered. As soon as the killer is gone, he gets up, goes and bolts the door, plants himself in a comfortable chair with a loaded gun in his hand to suggest suicide. That's a swell theory.
Hello, Gamble. What is this? What's happened?
Something terrible has happened, Miss Lake.
Hilda. What is it, Raymond? What is it?
It's your Uncle Archer, Hilda. He killed himself last night.
Where?
They're upstairs.
Hey, don't touch that body, miss.
Oh, Mr. Vance.
How do you do, Miss Lake? This is Mr. Markham, the district attorney. How do you do? Miss Lake, his Coe's niece.
I'm sorry, Miss Lake, but you mustn't touch anything until the medical examiner arrives. It's against regulation.
Is it also against regulations to tell me what's happened?
We arrived only a few moments ago. We found your uncle as you see him.
It has every appearance of suicide.
I doubt it.
Do you know of anyone who would have reason to kill your uncle?
Yes, I had for one.
Why, Miss Lake?
Because he stood in the way of everything I wanted. He made my life miserable because he held the purse strings. And because he was jealous of every man who came near me. I was afraid of him. Oh, the horrible nights I've spent in this house.
Are we to accept your comments as a confession of murder, Miss Lake?
Look here, Markham, that's ridiculous.
Please, Raymond. I think I can handle this situation myself.
When we found your uncle, Miss Lake, the door was bolted from the inside.
Bolted inside? Oh. Maybe he did shoot himself.
Can't you make up your mind?
Do you know of anyone else who felt as you do about your uncle?
Practically everyone he came in contact with. He was ruthless. He wanted his own way in everything. I imagine there are plenty of Chinese who will be glad to know that his collecting days are over. Ask our cook.
I shall. Can you think of anyone else?
Well, Uncle Brisbane shared my feelings toward him, I'm sure.
Where is this Brisbane guy? Maybe he decided to do something about it.
That's impossible. He's on his way to Chicago. He left on the 5 o'clock train yesterday afternoon. He'd be just about getting there by now.
Well, you'd probably like to wire him, wouldn't you?
Why, yes, of course. Is that all?
For the present, yes. Suppose we check up on Upper Brisbane on that Chicago train.
Won't take me but a minute.
Hello?
Come on, Simpkin. Get your feet off the boss's desk and jump down to Grand Central.
All right, I get you.
Yes, Mr. Heath. Langham Hotel, Chicago? Yes, sir. I'll rush the call. Hold a while, please.
Oh, yes, Mr. Heath. We're expecting Mr. Brisbane Coe this morning. Oh, yes, he wired for a reservation last night.
Thank you. Goodbye. Yep. He took the 5 o'clock train, all right.
Good.
You know, there's a few things I'd like to find out about this girl, Hilda Lake.
Why are you always trying to check up on me?
I'm not trying to check up on you, Hilda. I want to help you. Well, you know how I feel about you. You know that I love you. But lately you seem to have changed. Every time I want to speak to you about marriage, you evade me. What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing. Raymond, I never said I'd marry you.
But I thought that now that I could take you away from here.
You might as well know now as later. When all this is cleared up, I'm going to marry Tom MacDonald.
Oh.
Oh, try to understand, Raymond. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't tell me.
Come on, don't tell your kid that. Why,
Oh, suicide, my eye. Was the DA himself and Vance on the job?
Suicide, and that's that.
Oh, come on. Have a cigar.
It's still suicide. Hey, wait a minute. Are you a reporter?
No, I'm Sir Thomas MacDonald. I'd like to talk to the officer in charge here.
Oh, come on inside.
Tom! Why didn't you stay away from here?
And leave you to face this thing alone?
But you promised me last night you wouldn't come here. Won't you go, please? I can bluff it through. I don't want the police asking you questions.
I know all the answers.
Oh, but please go for my sake.
Let's forget about it, shall we? It's too late now in any case. The police are guarding every entrance.
Wait a moment. You can cross through that yard and get to your apartment. No one will see you. Take the first boat to England. I'll join you as soon as I can.
Watch out for those newspaper men, Sir Thomas. They're even deadlier than the police.
I had no intention of leaving.
Ah, good. Oh, by the way, I was sorry to hear about the death of your dog last night.
Oh, thanks.
You didn't by any chance discuss it with Archer Cole, did you?
No. If I had, I might have killed him.
Well, did you?
That's your problem.
I want to see. And then you, doctor? How about a statement now?
Give me a chance.
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm a doctor, not a magician.
Almost full and funny.
Go on now, scram.
Wait a minute. Tom, get in here.
Hello, Doc. Hello, Kelsey. Where have you been? Haven't seen you for a long time. Working hard.
What kept you so long? Did you walk all the way?
You always pick on me at mealtime. I was in the middle of cakes and sausage. What have you got?
Just plain suicide. This guy locked himself in the room, bumped himself off.
Suicide? Then why didn't you let me finish my breakfast?
Hello, Doc.
Hello, Markham. All you need is an order to remove the body. If you told me that over the phone, I'd have sent my assistant.
Mr. Markham told me to phone you personally. Don't crab at me about it.
I'll give you the approximate hour of the death, if you want it.
That's big-hearted of you, Doc.
And the routine autopsy, we can do tomorrow, as it's just a case of suicide.
Why do you jump to that conclusion, Doctor?
I know a dead man when I see one. Besides, the door was bolted.
I know, the door was bolted from the inside. But what about the body? Hadn't you better have a look at it?
I was going to. I'm a doctor, not a detective. This man is dead with a bullet hole in his right temple. He's holding a gun in his right hand. Just the kind of wound that might have been self-inflicted. The position is natural, and the door was locked on the inside. Well, let me see. That's strange.
Did you find something to disturb you, Doctor?
Plenty. There's blood in his mouth. And he's got a skull fracture from some club-like instrument.
Now, what about the bullet wound in his temple? There's no blood there.
That's so. Gentlemen, when that bullet entered this man's head, he had been dead for hours.
Can you place the time of his death?
I'd say from 8 to 12 hours ago.
Would you say that the revolver was placed in his hand before rigor mortis set in?
Yes.
Did he die from the effects of the blow on the head?
No. Probably rendered him unconscious for a while, but that wouldn't have killed him. Not powerful enough.
The blow didn't kill him, the bullet didn't kill him, and yet he's dead. Suppose we try to find out just what did kill him.
Glad you thought of that, Mr. Vance. It's not a bad idea.
Perhaps I'd better take another look.
All right, boys. Let's pick up these clues before they get mussed up here.
Hey, just a minute, Doc, please. Ready?
Give me a hand, Sergeant. Help me lift the body over to bed.
What do you want to put it? All right, boys, the rigor routine. Let's get this body over on the bed.
Around the handles, around the body.
Get that meat and fly. All right, now, get a hold.
Put a little black powder. Hey, here they come, boys. Give me a hand. All right.
Yeah, lift him easy.
Easy.
Very good. There he is. Now then,
All right,
just a little more that way.
All right,
That's
Sam, for you, Doc.
That's it. There couldn't have been much of a struggle. His hair isn't even mussed.
Maybe somebody slugged him and then combed his hair.
By George! Now I've got it. Stabbed below the left shoulder blade, near the spine. There's no external bleeding.
Internal hemorrhage, huh?
That's it.
What do you think of the suicide theory now, Sergeant?
Well, it's slightly complicated for him to shot, slugged, and stabbed himself, particularly in the back.
Yes, very complicated. Oh, Markham.
Yes.
You see, there's no hole in the back of his pajama jacket. So he couldn't have been wearing that when he was stabbed. To get this. There's a hole in the back of his coat and another in his waistcoat, blood-stained. He must have been fully dressed when he was attacked.
That lets me out. I finished. I suppose you'll want a quick autopsy.
Yes.
Get that body down to the morgue as soon as possible.